What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim here with OPTCG, and finally, we're on our last color of OP08. We're going to be going over Kalgara and all the support it got or didn't get for yellow. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Yep, so we already talked about Pudding and her support in another video, so I'm actually not really going to go over this card, but we are going to go over our new leader here, Kalgara, which most of the yellow support is based on. It's going to be Jaya, Sky Island, and Shandora Warrior type with a 5,000 power and 5 life, so your standard monocolor leader. This is going to be Dawn X1. When attacking, you can play one character with the Shandian Warrior type from your hand that has a cost equal or less to the number of Dawn cards you currently have on your field. So this is, if you have 6 Dawn, you attach 1 to Kalgara, you have 5 left, you can still play out a 6 cost Shandor Warrior. And then after that, if you played a character, you can add the top card of your life to your hand. So that is a bit of a stipulation there. You do have to take life if you use this effect, but it is, very strong. This is 1 Dawn play, up to however much cost you have for Shandora Warriors. Spoilers, it only goes up to 6, but very scary effect. And as I was saying when this got revealed, if this gets good support, this leader is going to be an absolute aggro menace. Let's just say it did not.
Yeah. Spoilers, it did not get the support that it should have deserved. But you know what? I think it's still going to be a fun leader, and people are still going to play it. It's a mono yellow deck with 5 life that doesn't rely on triggers for once, so
Yeah,
people are excited about it.
I think definitely healthy for the game at the very least. Calgara alt art here probably being the also worst alt art of the leaders, I would argue. So again, kind of, screwed over in that aspect as well, which kind of sucks.
At least it's hung out. At least it's hung out.
There you go. I mean, obviously that one's more subjective. So if you like this art, I'm sorry to put it down, but it is definitely not great. But an art that is probably not the best either, and also only a 6/8 common. I have talked about this in a previous video. This is what Kalgara got. This is the big card that we're trying to play off leader effect. It is a common, a 6/8 common. Don't get me wrong. It's strong to play out an 8k body off of your leader effect. That's good. But I can't not be sad that we didn't get like a cool 7/8 SR that did something crazy that we can do off leader effect. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we got to take it. We got to take it. It is what it is. Maybe they didn't want to give it something too crazy to start because it would just be too broken. Because his effect is pretty nasty. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have to wait and see how it performs.
All right, next up here we've got Southbird is a 1/2 1,000 counter animals, Jaya, and Sky Island type. This one's going to be on play. You can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and if grab up to 1 upper yard, then you put the So after you grab it, you can actually play it. So this is very similar to what's his name, Omen Holy. So you look for a card and you can play it if you find it, and this is going to be place the rest at the bottom afterwards. So this is a searcher for the upper yard, and if you have not seen the Shandora cards, they're pretty much all made around finding that one card you can only run a 4 of. So this card might have to be ran in Kalgara.
Yeah. It's definitely a 4 of with 4 upper yards, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty much just the archetype, so you're kind of forced to run that card. Next up here, we've got Charlotte Angel is a 2/3 with 1,000 counter and Big Mom Pirates. So this one's going to be activated May. Once per turn, you put the top card of your life into the trash. So this costs a life, so it's going to be a pretty strong effect. If your leader has the Big Mom Pirates type, at the end of this turn, add the top card of your deck to your life. Huh. I can't say that affect's good. I mean, maybe if we're playing Katakuri, we swing 7, we see the top of our life, we're like, oh, I don't need this card this game, I'm going to play this, and, switch it out for a different card. But, are we really doing that? That's the only scenario I can see this ever being good.
I mean, especially even in Katakuri, the deck is so tight. You don't really ever have 2 Dawn just to waste like that. So, I don't think you even run it.
You know what? This is decent in Pudding, now that I think about it, right? Because if you have those face-up life cards that you want to get rid of, this can get rid of that and then just replace it with an actual card, which is pretty good. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so maybe a tech option in pudding. We'll see.
yeah. We'll see. But I mean, on paper, not that great.
Yeah. Next up here we've got Charlotte Opera. Is a 6/6 with a 1,000 counter and the Big Mom Pirates. Pretty weak stat line already, but let's see the on play. You can discard one card from your hand. Wow, you also have to discard. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost equal to or less than the number of cards in your life. So this is kind of like a reverse Gadatsu for one more Dawn. However, I think it's just way too slow. Like, sure, you can control the amount of life you hold on to more than your opponent can, so this is a bit better. But a 6/6 body is really bad. And it also makes you discard one card. Like, why are there so many stipulations? This card is just not that good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a poor man's Godot, so I don't think we ever run it because at least the opponent's life we can manipulate by swinging or not swinging. This here has the opposite effect. You're gonna have to get rid of your cards to try to keep your life up to ever use an
Yeah.
effect that's worth it.
Yeah. Which
So
again
yeah,
makes this only good early.
correct.
Next up here, we've got Charlotte Custard. Is a 2/3 with a 1,000 counter and the Big Mom Pirates type. This one's going to be activate main once per turn. You add the top card of your life to your hand, and then up to one of your characters gets 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Wow, this card is bad. Why would we ever take a life card for 1,000 power? That is like the worst effect I've ever seen.
Filler cards. I mean, these are just filler cards.
Yeah, but this is an uncommon. This isn't even a common, so I'm impressed how bad that is. Except here we, except here we got Charlotte. How do you say this? Poir is a 1/2 with a 1,000
Yeah,
counter and the Big Mom Pirates type. You know, fantastic art. You know, no comments on that one. But it's gonna have a trigger. You can discard one card from your hand and then play the card and draw one card. So we get a 2K body on board after discarding a card. So very similar to a lot of yellow character triggers. And then we draw one on top of it. So we kind of just, replace the card we discarded. But a 2K body isn't doing anything for us.
yeah. We just run Shirahoshi at that point,
Yeah,
right?
like if you want to cycle cards, right, you'd rather play Shirahoshi.
Yeah, no, this is definitely not it. I love that art though, but it's the card's not it.
All right, next up here we've got Jewelry Bonnie. It's our first SR in yellow. It's going to be a 3/4 with a 1,000 counter. The Egghead and Bonnie Pirates type. It's going to be Dawn X1. During your turn, once per turn, when your opponent takes life on your turn, you can draw 2 cards and discard 1 card from your hand. And then on trigger, it's going to draw 2 and discard 1. So same on the trigger. Basically, your idea with this card is like, okay, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to make you take life throughout the game, and I'm going to get multiple draw 2, discard 1 cycles throughout the game. On a 3/4 body, is that really going to happen? Probably not. This is like an uber removable card with honestly not even that amazing of an effect. Like, after you play this, like, how many times are you really getting this to go off? Like, maybe once before it goes away. And at that point, you could look at it as like a 3/4, draw 2, discard 1. Like, would we play that? Probably
Yeah, I
not.
mean, yeah, potentially not. I don't think it's going to see use. Amazing art though, and then the alt art on this
Mm.
card is definitely going to be one to collect.
Yep. Speaking of that, right here, fantastic alt art. I could already see the fantastic shine on this card is going to have in real life. So, great, definitely collectible alt art, as Wraith said. Next up here, we've got probably my favorite art this set. I don't know why, I just really like this card art. Even, I'd say, maybe better than the alt art. We'll see. But this is going to be a 5/5 with a 1,000 counter, the Egghead and Straw Hat Crew type. It's going to be on play. You can discard 1 card with trigger from your hand. Then KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. And after that, if you have 3 or less cards in hand, draw 1 card. And then on trigger, you can activate the on play effect. This does not play this card on the board, however. So pretty much, you're playing this off Vega Punk leader. That's what a lot of these are made for. So you're playing this for 1 Dawn, KO 5, discard 1, draw 1. So cycle, KO. Like, this is good for Vega Punk, at the very least.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't noticed, definitely a majority of these yellow cards are definitely geared towards a Vegapunk leader rather than Kalgara, which is definitely interesting, and I don't appreciate that, but eventually hopefully we get some better Kalgara support because that leader is definitely interesting me, and it not seeing the support it needed. It definitely hurts.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for sure. And this art here, another contender. I love this art as well. Um, the yellow alt arts, despite being disappointed in them, are pretty much bangers this set.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
Next up here, we got Nitro is a 1/2 with 1,000 counter and the Big Mom Pirate and Homies type. This is going to be activate made. You can put this character into rest mode, and then up to one of your Charlotte Pudding gets plus 2k power during this turn. So, like, obviously this is made to play in the Pudding leader. It's a 1 for 2k power. We're already swinging with leader to activate leader effect, so, like, that's cool, but I don't think cards like this are ever going to be good, unfortunately. They just don't do enough. And I don't really think they work to the leader's strengths either, so I don't think we'd run this card.
Yeah, maybe if we saw, cards like this for decks like, Captain Kid, right? A green
Sure.
mono Captain Kid, where you can double swing and make use of a card like this potentially, right, is good. But seeing this kind of card in a yellow deck seems just kind of out of place.
Yeah, agree. Next up here, we've got Mont Blanc Cricket is going to be Jaya Monkey Mountain Allied Forces type. It is a 4/6 vanilla, 1,000 counter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this it's from the same arc as Calgara, but this has no synergy with them at all. And also, you just got another vanilla, so not much to say about this card.
Yeah, I mean, just the vanilla.
Next up here, we got Mont Blanc Noland is a 5/6 with 1,000 counter, the Jaya and Botanist type. It's going to be on play if your leader has the Shandora Warrior type and you have a character called Kalgara on your board. You can add up to one card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So, obviously made for Calgara, we finally got a decent card. This one is going to be 5 Dawn, heal yourself 1 if you have specifically that 6/8 vanilla Calgara, because that is the only character we have right now named Calgara that exists in the game. So pretty much, you can get like a perfect turn with this on 6 Dawn, 1 on leader. We swing 6, you play your 6/8 out, and then with your 5 remaining Dawn, we can play this out and heal that life back that we just took. And we developed on 6 Dawn an 8k and a 6k, which is honestly really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so we were already talking about these powerful turns that Calgary can have. So the strength is definitely there. So maybe they were right not giving it a crazy SR to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, the deck just it feels like the combo potential on the deck is going to be pretty nasty.
Yep. Next up here, we've got Wiper is a 4/5 with 2k counter, the Sky Island and Shandora Warrior type, so very searchable card here. This is going to be when or on play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 upper yard, add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and play up to 1 upper yard from your hand. So another card very similar to the Southbird or an Ohm. You're going to look for something, and then you can play it for free. I like it. This is a 2k counter with a good stat-lined body and also a very playable effect that you can play off leader. Only thing I just have concern for with this archetype is that making a deck that revolves around one single card that you can only run 4 of does not sound great. Because, once you did one effect, the odds you find another one are a little low. But I think a necessary card that's going to be a 4 of in Calgara at the very least.
Yeah, for sure, right? Definitely have all these cards that want us to, gear towards using that upper yard. So I definitely won't have hurt to have this.
And the alt art here is really nice. So at least Calgara got a bit of love this set. Next up here, we've got S Shark. Is a 4/5 with 1,000 counter, the Egghead and Seraphim type. This is going to be Dawn X1. When attacking, your opponent cannot activate blocker for this battle. So very interesting card for Vega Punk. It's going to be trigger. You can discard 1 card from your hand. If you have 2 or less life, play this card. So, at least in Vega Punk, that trigger is pretty much always online. I think the fact that you have to discard a card to play it is really bad, though. Cards in hand is already like the main issue with Vega Punk because you're only getting 2 cards from life throughout the game, so you're running long cards really fast. So if we have to discard 1 to play this off trigger, that sounds pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely one of those cards that don't warrant the trigger to be used. It's a 4/5 body, and the effect is decent at best on a 4/5 body. Vega Punk isn't like maybe if it's like a rush kind of deck, like Zoro, where they're trying to finish off your opponent, and you can put touchdown onto like a Luffy and swing unblockable. Cool,
Mm-hmm.
but yellow decks aren't really like that. So I mean, it's kind of like a useless effect on a bad trigger. That just is a net, not even a net gain. It's a net loss.
Yeah. But could definitely be wrong with that one. Next up here, we've got S Snake is another SR for yellow. By the way, if you haven't noticed by now, we got 3 SRs for yellow, and they're all for Vega Punk and not for Kalgara. Also, I don't know if we've ever gotten 3 SRs for one color besides like OP01 and OP02 when we didn't have all 6 colors in the game yet. So, a little weird there. I get the anime is going on right now, and it's on this arc, so that's probably why, but it sucks for Kalgara at the very least. But sorry, let's go ahead and go over this card. 5/6, 1000 counter, Egghead, and Seraphim. It is going to be on play. Up to one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 6 or less, other than Monkey D. Luffy, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Very similar to the 6/8 Boa from Blue that we got in OP07. It's going to be trigger, activate this card's on play effect. So, I think just, 4 of a Vega Punk, like, playing this card off Vega Punk leader effect sounds ridiculous. We just got a 6k body that also locks a significant target down. Gonna make Vega Punk a lot better. I don't think he'll be good still, but a good card for the deck at least.
Yeah, I mean it's a better beige at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 2-turn beige if you get off trigger. Pretty nasty, but again, these cards going for that Egghead archetype, we already know Vega Punk is really, really bad. And I mean, the support that it's getting for this set is decent, but I don't think it's going to change much on how the deck, the deck strength. I don't think it's going to change the deck strength much, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think I agree with that for sure. And the alt art here, probably the weakest of the yellow alt arts, but good nonetheless. And next up here we have S Bear. It's going to be a 3/4 with 1000 counter, the Egghead and Seraphim type. This set has no main text, but it does have a trigger. You can discard 1 card from your hand. If your life is at 2 or less, play this card and KO one of your characters at the cost of 3 or less. So this card's like the Jinbei, but way worse. We're only getting a 4k body, and we're getting probably a weaker effect. I don't even think this card's worth talking about.
Yeah, no, not even.
Not worth the time. This one, though, is not bad. It's going to be a 4/5, 1000 counter S-Hawk with the Egghead and Seraphim type. It's going to be Donix one. If you have less life cards than your opponent, which Vega Punk is pretty much always going to have early, this character cannot be KO'd in battle with a card with the slash type or slash attribute, very similar to Buggy. And then it's going to read, and this character gets a free 2k power. So you can attach 1 off rip. And then if you're in Vega Punk, this is basically online right from the start. So it's going to be a 4/7 for the most part. And then obviously with the attached on, it'll be an 8k. Really strong body for the deck, and I like it. And the trigger is going to be you can discard 1 card from your hand. If you have 2 or less life, play this card. So this one, obviously the same trigger as the other 2, which we were already saying is bad. Only thing with this one is I think it's a pretty terrifying body. Because that Donix 1 is not just for your turn, that's on their turn as well. So this is going to be a 7k that you can play out from turn 1. For that reason, I think, we're probably playing this guy.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, it's a 7k for your turn and their turn. They're not going to be able to swing into this. This is a body that's going to stick for the first 2 or 3 turns. If they ever want to try to get rid of this, obviously it's going to have to be through cost reduction, because there's no way early on, at least, it gets removed any other way.
Yep. Speaking of, if even if they tried to get rid of it with a big slash character, you just couldn't, which is like a little added effect, but probably won't make too much of a difference. Next up here, we've got the Earth Will Not Be Defeated. Is a 1-cost Sky Island Shandora Warrior counter event. It's going to be if your leader has the Shandora Warrior type, up to one of your leaders or characters gets plus 3k power for the battle. Then play 1 upper yard from your hand. On trigger, draw 2, discard 1. Pretty good trigger. So this is like a super guard point. Guard point is just a 1 for 3. You don't see a lot of 1 for 3s, especially ones with an extra effect. So at least for the Kalgara deck, this is probably a 4 of.
Yeah, Yeah, no, it seems pretty strong. Um, I like the added effect of being able to play an upper yard from your hand. Means you can leave one Dawn up, to counter, but also play the upper yard that you were probably going to play on your turn anyway. So,
Yeah.
um, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, and in a deck where you're taking your own life, I think it's good to be able to, spare yourself from, attacks. So the 3K power definitely helps from beating a
Hmm
7K swing exactly as well. So
hmm hmm
next up here, we've got Combustion Cannon. Is a 2-cost Sky Island and Shandora Warrior event. It's going to be counter. Up to one of your characters gets 4K power for the battle. Standard 2/4 counter event. After that, you may add one card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. If you do, add up to one card with a Shandor Warrior type from your hand face up to your life. Um,
Interesting.
I can't say I understand, because at least for the Shandora Warrior characters with trigger, they're bad, and the Calgara cards Calgara decks that I've been seeing people run don't even include them. So for that reason, I don't think you'd be running this. If we had better trigger Shandora Warrior, yeah, I'd be down. But we unfortunately don't. The best one we have is like a 4K body. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
so
mean, definitely not yet. Definitely not
yeah.
yet, but it could be used in the future,
Mm-hmm.
depending on future support that releases. Could be one of those we come back to it, everyone forgets about it. Oh, let me play this card here. This is busted.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely a future card when Calgara gets more support could be devastating. Next up here, we've got Burning Sword, a 5-cost Sky Island and Shandora Warrior type card. It's going to be main. You can put the top card of your life into the trash. KO up to one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 7 or less. And then trigger, you can add one card from the top of your life to your hand. Add up to one card from your hand to your life. So that trigger is always good. But as far as the main effect goes, I had a buddy talking about that this card is really good. But then you think about it, Thunderbolt has probably a better trigger, and we can do the same exact thing. Obviously, only KOing a 5 cost, but that's for 2 Dawn. How are we paying 3 more to KO a 7 cost? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I get yellow isn't the best deck for removal, so maybe this is nice to have. But I think this could have been an upwards of 8, and it would have been fair. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very expensive. Not only do you have to take that life, you're paying 5 Dawn to KO a 7, so I don't think that 2 extra Dawn for the 2 extra cost warrants a life being taken. If this was just a 5 KO a 7, I'd probably like it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I think you having to be aggressive and taking life to get some removal feels really bad. So probably wouldn't run this. Like you said, that Thunderbolt is probably just way better.
Yeah. And our SP for this set is going to be the 1-cost Searcher Charlotte Pudding. So awesome art, and definitely a card that people are going to be looking to play in the new Charlotte Pudding deck. But that is going to be our yellow breakdown. Unfortunately, Kalgara, not getting the support it wanted, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but I mean, this game is still very early on. We have a lot of sets that are, bound to release, so it could always make a comeback, as we've seen with previous leaders. So I'm very excited for the future. But that is going to be it for all of the OP08 cards that are released on the official website. You guys can all go check them out if you want on your own. But that is going to be it. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.